Hello, continuing on with the Gry Bstrds by Jonathan French, chapters 9 to 15, where um, they get the elf girl back to the hold, the orc place, the whatever it's called. They're kind of sussing out their captain. The crafty decides, no, I'm going to tell him because he'll actually just believe me, and he wants to trust me because he wants me to trust him, which doesn't make Jackal that happy. The notable things in here are, yeah, there's definitely kind of the politics. There's kind of like, how much is Jackal correct and how much is he just not knowing what his leader is doing? Like, is the leader of his or cold fast? Is it actually, somebody who's maybe actually is smarter than Jackal or not? I don't know. Or what's going on. They seem to suspect that he's somehow involved with getting the elf girl. And they also, one of the things that is discovered, because that is one of the big things that happens, is that Jackal was injured, so they go to the halflings. This is very much J.R. or Tolkien kind of derived, though they're slightly kind of different. These halflings, they're halfling priests, and they the halfling priest heals Jackal, but in two conditions. One, which is kind of a standard one, which is that when the centaurs go on kind of their blood moon killing rampage of killing everyone, he has to come and stand with them and protect them. So that's the one thing. And the other thing is he's taken to this ancient temple where there's this corpse of this human man, and he has to come. If this guy comes back to life, he has to come and stand with him and be there to crush all the enemies. I think all the orcs or something like that, because this is an ancient thing. And at least from what Crafty says, this halfling might actually be the original halfling who was there when all this was happening. So there's that. And at the end of that, the priest reveals that that elf is pregnant, and that elf is pregnant with an orc, half orc, half elf thing. And there's been this whole thing of elf maidens just immediately kill themselves if they're ever in that kind of a situation. There's a strong thing of suicide that way, which I guess isn't there with not with all the human women who have been raped and given birth to half orc children. So there's that. Just keeping up on our level of that kind of underlying undertow of sexual violence, of rape within this book. It's literally all based on a rape culture, I guess, of a thing. So yeah, not great. I mean, it's a grim dark, but it sucks when the grim dark is always seems to be based on the raping of women. For a genre that's maybe the entertainment of guys like myself, who I'm finding this entertaining, but I'm also going, uh-huh. And we have a scene of the elf woman girl in Fetch's room, and him kind of just staring at her and thinking about how much he wants to touch her and things, and like, if she refuses me, well, then I get to be angry. I get to show her what everyone thinks we are, which is these foul, rotten creatures. And wouldn't that be great? I guess. And no, but he is the hero, so he does not act on this. He just he beds down in his side of the room, and that's it. She does look at him for a long instance and then turns away, her body tense, like she's, expecting something because she's been raped by an orc. So there's that, which is like, blah. Yeah, which it's like, yeah, you have the hero doing that as well in this book because it's grimdark. There is a exciting because they're expecting like, oh, the Tines, which is what they call the elves because they're riding horn jobbies. I'm assuming elk or something like that. They're expecting them to attack, and there's a very kind of tense scene where Jackal is doing his patrol of the thing, and like, it's like two guys riding around and around, but then at one point the guy doesn't show up again. It's like, where the fuck is he? And he finds the thing. He finds his mount slashed. And he goes to the thing and says, "Look, they're in this thing. We need to protect the girl. I'm going to go to the barns." He does, and all the young guys who are in hope wannabes to be brothers in the Gry Bstrds, all their throats are cut, and he's like, "Oh, and the hogs are raging. They're raging in that way that means only one thing, which is," and an orc steps out, and he has to go head to head with an orc. He almost gets his ass handed to him, but the guy stands in front of the wrong stall, which is Oak's gigantic hog. He swings the door open. The hog drives the orc all the way back and gores him. And he just puts a bolt right through his eye and kills him. And so that's where we are. And that's really well done scene. There's the shit with the orc woman. There is a kind of a continual thing with Fetch of about how Fetch has had to battle as a woman to get respect, to actually get into the Brotherhood, sponsored by Jackal and Oak. Turns out from her childhood, she trained with them, with her father who challenged the current leader for the thing and failed and got exiled, which is probably just means sure death. I'm assuming, unless he of course pops up because we heard this whole story about him. And just there's some kind of awareness there about how shitty of a world this is for women, and that it's not a good thing. It's one of those things of, when does depicting misogyny entertainingly become cool? Misogyny, cool. Even if you're aware of, at least on some levels, of the aspects of it. So again, it's a bro book. It is definitely a bro book, but it's a bro book that's making some nods towards maybe this stuff sucks, but I think if Fetch was the protagonist of this book, it could be different that way. But maybe the author's being honest with himself when he's saying that's not the book that I could write. So maybe that's not the book he's interested in writing. So yeah, that's where I am at with the Gry Bstrds for right now. All right, more videos later.